Did you know that in the Binding of Isaac Repentance, you can unlock tainted versions of characters, which have different abilities compared to their regular versions? Well, if you're playing on PC, when you switch to these tainted versions, the Isaac icon on your taskbar will switch to a tainted Isaac. It's such a small detail that only the maniacs that play in windowed mode will notice. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Easter Eggs and Hidden Details, the series where I share some of the latest and not so latest Easter eggs and hidden details found in video games, with the only rule being they cannot have been featured on this channel before. As always, leave your suggestions for Easter eggs or hidden details that I haven't covered down in the comments, and without further delay, let's get started with Doom the Dark Ages and its new Revelations DLC. Now, the new shiny toy that's been introduced with this DLC is the Chain Spear, which lets you hook onto enemies like some kind of super jacked fisherman. The only problem is, demons don't look like they taste nice, so how about landing yourself a juicy fish instead? During the Chasm of Algoroth level, you'll come to this area, where you can perform some Super Mario style platforming and find this. So, it's a dead fish, which isn't exactly juicy. Now, some of you might think that this is the Easter egg, but it isn't. If you interact with this poor little guy and head to the nearby pool of water, you can find this. So it's Dopefish from the Commander Keen games, and he's looking as derpy as ever. Now, this 4K ray tracing enabled version of Dopefish was first seen in Doom Eternal, but Dopefish has been hiding in games for years, having featured in Darkenstein 3D, Dusk and more. I mean, at this point, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if Dopefish is contractually obligated to appear in Doom games. So from a fast-paced, high-octane game about slaughtering demons in the most bloody ways imaginable, to a game about putting books back on a shelf. I mean, you can never accuse me of lacking variety. Tidy Up the Arcane library does exactly what it says on the tin, as it lets you tidy up a magical library. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first loaded this game up and saw all of the books that needed sorting, I longed for more demons to slay. But once you get to know your alchemy from your archery, it just clicks, and before you know it, it's over. Now, a lot of the books in this magical library are your typical magical books, but there are some books that are a bit more special. For a start, you can find a book titled Arrow to the Shattered Knee, which is a reference to the Arrow to the Knee meme from Skyrim.
I used to be an adventurer like you, and I took an arrow in the knee.
Another Skyrim reference can be found in one of the stealth books, as this book, called Tactics of the Bucket, Vision Stealing Theft, is a reference to the popular exploit in Skyrim where you could put a bucket on an NPC's head and then rob them of their belongings. They wouldn't care, of course, because they had a bucket on their head, so they couldn't see what you were doing. Another book of interest is the Death Snow, which is of course a reference to the super popular Death Note, but I've saved the most thought-provoking book till last. So in a question that has puzzled the world's greatest minds since the dawn of time, this book asks, curry flavoured poop or poop flavoured curry? I'll let you guys deal with that one. Now, I love High on Life 2's random conversations, and there are so many of them to find that I'm still being told about new ones, even though the game came out all the way back in February. Anyway, the latest overly chatty NPC that I've bumped into can be found at the beach, but something tells me that he shouldn't be here.
Oh no, I'm not at the actual beach. This is a work call. I'm at home. My background is just virtual ocean, and I paid for it, so I'd like to use it.
So this man is supposed to be working from home, and when questioned by his boss as to why it looks like he's at the beach, he explains that it's one of those fancy backgrounds that elderly people used to use on Zoom during the dark days of 2020. If you know, you know. Well, if you keep popping up in the background of the call, he will use several different excuses to try and explain your appearance.
No, I can't tell the AI to move, or I can tell them, but I can't make them. They make their own decisions. They're entirely free of my control. Hold your children tight tonight. Who knows what these creatures will do tomorrow? Oh, there they go, walking behind me. God, these filters, it's just like a real beach. You're gonna get me fired. Sorry, I'm just yelling at one of the AIs. It makes me feel better. Oh yeah, they're just standing there because that's actually an extra feature I paid for, to have AI just stand behind me all the time. It's looking out for me. What if there's a shark? It's anything could happen. It's a really premium filter.
I mean, I'm not sure that the Aliens boss bought those excuses, but I have to give him props for trying. Now, all the way back in May of last year, I said the only reason that I would play Vanilla Beast Mystery Kink again would be if I found more Easter eggs. I'm sure there's loads more to find in this game, and that's going to be the only reason I continue to play it. See, I did say that. Well, the game does have more Easter eggs, so here we are. Now, one of the locations that you can visit in Mystery Kink is the amusingly named Deep in Her Kraken, and sitting at the bar is this man dressed in a raincoat with a hook for a hand, which isn't something you see every day. Well, this man is actually a reference to the killer fisherman from I Know What You Did Last Summer. On the other side of the bar, you can find another fisherman, though this one doesn't want to kill you. That is, unless you happen to be a very hungry great white shark. You see, this is Quinn, who is probably best remembered for becoming shark food in 1975's Jaws. Oh, and I'm guessing that this guy is supposed to be a reference too, but I honestly have no idea who he is. Finally, if you head to the beach, you can find Crockett and Tubbs from Miami Vice looking as stylish as ever, and selling her world famous pink tacos is Pamela Anderson. Believe me, there are loads more references in this game, including a Kratos-themed minigame where you take on 3 ladies, if you get what I mean. But after the issues I had with my last video, I definitely won't be showing that here. Now, James Bond is supposed to be a spy, which should mean he's a master at blending in and seeing things that he shouldn't. Well, it seems that the young James Bond in 007 First Light hasn't quite got that part of being a spy nailed down yet. When visiting Moneypenny in the super cool underground MI6 bunker, you can try to get a sneak peek at a meeting happening nearby. But if you get caught looking, this will happen.
Agent Roth. Talk about a French exit.
So someone notices you watching and turns on the privacy glass, which for a super spy like Bond is pretty embarrassing. Now, a lot has been made of the fact that First Light was developed by IO Interactive, who are the same guys behind the Hitman games. I mean, sure, there is definitely some Agent 47 DNA in the game, but if you've played it, you'll know that it's definitely not just a reskinned Hitman game. Still, that doesn't mean that IO are keen for you to forget the bar-coded assassin, as you can find a couple of references to Hitman in First Light. First up, when exploring Bond's apartment, you can find this. So, the face on the cover of the magazine is Joseph Clarence, aka the Swing King, who was 47's first target in Hitman Blood Money.
I can see it in your eyes, you're not a bald man.
The magazine underneath also features the name of Ken Morgan, who was a target in Hitman 2.
Hey, delicious.
Next up, when trying to reach the perch with Greenway, you can find this. So, it's a rubber duck in a suit. Given that rubber ducks are such a big part of Hitman's identity, and tuxedos are such a big part of Bond's, this feels like an Easter egg dedicated to both. Now, I know it's easy to hate on Ubisoft. I mean, they've certainly given us enough reason to over the years, but Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is a really, really good game. I mean, it of course helps that the original Black Flag was brilliant, but for the most part, the little changes and tweaks that Ubisoft have made in this remake are for the better, and if you've never played the original, then this is a no-brainer. Now, I wasn't making YouTube videos when the original game released back in 2013, but even I knew of this first Easter egg, and if I'm honest, it's one part of the remake that left me underwhelmed. At this location on the map, you can find a diving spot, and if you head to the wreckage and wait by the window that I do, this will happen. So a giant squid will appear and take down a whale, which is obviously really cool. The only problem is, I think it looked better in the original. Another Easter egg that was present in the first game can be found at this location on the map. After dealing with the enemies at the fort, you can find some prisoners trapped in a well. And the funniest part is that they will say literally anything to be let out.
Anyone there? I've discovered the means to end all wars. But I'm not telling you.
They're just going to leave us here, aren't they?
Come on down. It's my rat's birthday party. It's a lovely day, isn't it? It's all right. I'm perfectly comfortable down here. I have some delicious tea.
I mean, the offer of tea did get my English senses tingling, but unfortunately there is no way to free these prisoners. Now, I don't know if this next Easter egg was in the original or not, but it is really cool. At this location on the map, you can find an unmarked island with a shop. And given that this is in the middle of nowhere, I'm guessing it's struggling for business. The shop does seem normal enough. Well, apart from the deceased crew attire that doesn't require money, but bones instead. Now, you might be wondering, are bones easy to come by? And the answer is yes. After killing an animal, you can loot a bone. But that's just one bone. And you need 206. Which, for those who paid attention at school, is the same amount of bones in the human body. Anyway, after a whole lot of hunting, you can buy the deceased crew attire, which will turn you into the Davy Jones of the seas. You know, minus the tentacles and the heartbreak. So that's it. If you're the sort of person who loves spotting things developers hide, make sure you're subscribed. Be sure to scan the QR code on screen now to get your gamer subs. Even if you don't want to pay for them, and to be clear, if you do, I do get a small kickback, but even if you don't want to pay, grab yourself some free samples on me. Anyway, as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.